Hey, welcome back. We're just going to go over the kind of liquid growth effect in Cinema rather than Houdini. It's a little bit simpler. It's not as procedural, but yeah, it's pretty easy to do. So this is what we're going to go over. Okay, so I'm not going to start from total scratch because otherwise it'll be too long and boring. This is a bevel from a Take Here model that I found somewhere, like a free one. So basically we are going to use particles to drive the growth inside a volume measure. Okay, so for this I've just created a basic circle, turned it into a path just so I could change the start points. I'm not going to go through setting up each emitter, but there's basically here there's three. And they've all got an offset start, so just to make it a bit more organic. So this one was starting at 48, that's the big one, 12, then 0, the two smaller ones. So we're just going to use a follow spline so that they grow along the spline, and then we're adding in some turbulence. I think the follow spline is just a default, obviously using the right circle. Turbulence, kind of a big turbulence, 20% scale, and then quite a bit of it. See how it moves along, and then just to kind of slow it down, stick them all together, quite a high friction. I think it's on 75. But you know, that's something that you can play around with and get creative with. You don't need to copy those settings. Then what we're going to do is just, well, yeah, we don't need to do that for this, but in the original I then just copied this whole system, flipped it around so that it's growing. Well, let's just do it. Okay, so we've obviously got to make sure that's on the new particle group, and then I believe these need to change around. That way, okay, 270, is that right? And follow spline, I think needs a new follow spline. Rename this all properly. I'm just doing it quickly. I don't like long tutorials. But this needs to turn around as well. So now we should have, there we go. Okay. Now obviously you would go in and change these settings a bit so that they're all a bit different. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to keep it simple. Okay, then we're going to take a volume builder, measure. Now in here, first we're going to put in the bevel. Okay, let's just turn that off for now. And we'll put this down to say 2. Then we are going to create a new folder. Inside that, we are going to use the particle group. This is going to be set to intersect. Now, let's put this back on. But let's turn this off. Render as well. Okay, so you can see the basic principle. You're driving the growth of the object with the particles. Now obviously we can put in this one as well, and we're getting both. Okay, now the lower you go here, the bigger your file sizes are going to be, the slower it's going to be. But obviously the better it's going to look. So you've got to find that balance. For this particular model, it has to have nice sharp edges. So I did go very low, and I ended up cashing out an alembic which came to 22 gigs. So it does get quite big. So let's just dial this in a bit. Let's go down to 0.5. Okay, so we've rewound. Let's get in a smooth. We need to dial this in. Let's see how this looks. Okay, you can see where we're getting to. Just need to smooth this out a bit more. Let's try 5. Looks pretty good. I don't really like these little bumps that appear. So let's take this up to 10. I think that should be good. Okay, so you see it's really starting to struggle. You can cache out your particles, it'll save you some calculation time. They've just got varying sizes on the base emitters. There's nothing too fancy going on. And yeah, just play with the smoothing, the speed of the particles, the turbulence, and make sure you cache these out before you cache out your volume builder. And then when you're ready, you can bake that as an alembic and just put this in a new scene. And then it's really light to work with. You can go smaller. In the end, I did add a bit of a smooth for the render. You can just play with that in the amount of iterations. You obviously want to keep it quite sharp, but it managed to come out pretty nicely in the end. If it was, this was just an experiment. If it was for an actual client, you would put that down as low as it could go, say 0.25 or something. A bit of depth of field helps, but yeah, it is a lot quicker than setting this up in Houdini. It does take a bit of time to export the alembic, but otherwise it's pretty easy and very easy to art direct using the particles. Okay, maybe I could cover this in another tutorial. That's Houdini. And here's another example of the liquid growth effect using the strap, which is quite interesting. Some more particle stuff in Houdini. So yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything in here you'd like to see a bit more about. Yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.